I was doing pretty good. Like I had a good steady one or two clients that I was always getting like new a month. And then from then I also bought a Matrice 350, which has been a massive upgrade for the capabilities that I can provide. And being able to like offer something like that is like really, I think it stands out, from like maybe the average drone operator.
Yeah.
I think it puts a little bit of a spin on me as like a drone operator, camera operator. Until a big job came, that was where I had to scan. Oh man, one site was like over 250 acres, over $10,000, just by itself.
No. So we started working together almost coming up on a year. Obviously, we were building out the drone side of things and getting more consistency. You were still making money at that point, but growing things. And then I don't know if we were hitting like 3 and 4K months. Speak on that and what was kind of like biggest month going into giving you the opportunity to actually take the plunge and go in full time. Josh, welcome back, man. It's been what, a couple months since we did your last testimonial, and you're like begging me to do another one. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll sit down and hang out. Give me an update. Like, how's everything been since we last chatted? How's business? Where are we at? A lot of big updates.
Oh yeah, so definitely since the last time that we had a testimonial, I was doing pretty good. Like I had a good steady one or two clients that I was always getting like new a month. And then from then I also bought a Matrice 350, which has been a massive upgrade for the capabilities that I can provide. Being like just straight up photogrammetry, like really high detail photogrammetry, thermal, infrared, LiDAR if I wanted to. So those pathways have opened up, and being able to like offer something like that is like really, I think it stands out, from like maybe the average drone operator. I feel like people compartmentalize more on like one thing, which is cool. I think that definitely works. But for a guy like me, let's say, who's like just by myself, and still hitting like both creative and business to business, it's definitely interesting to see like, oh, the cameraman's also like an inspector for like roofs, or like wants to do solar and construction updates. So I think it puts a little bit of a spin on me as like a drone operator, camera operator.
What made you upgrade to the Matrice?
So I actually got a call from somebody who visited my website and was interested, and they saw that I had construction experience. So he called and was like, do you have mapping experience? I said, yeah, I have 2 years of mapping experience. And he said, do you have a Matrice 350? And I was like, no, I don't have that. But I had called him back because I was like, I'm just curious, like what type of work would you be doing with a Matrice 350 that I couldn't do, let's say, with an Enterprise, Mavic 3 Enterprise. And he basically sat me down and just went over the job scope, essentially. And he was saying like, if you get this drone, you could get a lot of work, and a lot of work did come for sure. So I want to speak on that for sure. But just like in that time when he told me about that opportunity, I was a little bit like, I don't know if I get this drone, like, what is it going to be like if it's slow or anything like that. Like, I don't do the jobs come like right away. So I wasn't really sure until a big job came, and it was up in Buffalo. And that was where I had to scan. Oh man, one site was like over 250 acres, and I had to, it was like a multiple day flight. And the other 12 sites after that. So it was well worth the time and money. And actually that payout is like over $10,000, just by itself.
Nice.
And in the month of April, I've had roughly around 10 other different drone related shoots, and then as well as other film stuff that was going on.
Hmm.
or branding stuff, but all stuff that was able to be added to the table.
Hmm.
Um, and the takeout is all mine essentially.
Nice. So we started working together almost coming up on a year. I can't remember exactly when we started, but obviously we were building out the drone side of things and getting more consistency. You were still making money at that point, but growing things. And then I don't know if we were hitting like 3 and 4K months up recently, but what kind of, because it sounds like you ended up taking a career change and finally made the jump. So speak on that, and what was kind of like biggest month going into giving you the opportunity to actually take the plunge and go in full time.
Yeah, so I was working at my job full time since 2023, and I had left it 2 weeks ago now. I guess it's May 2nd is when my last day was.
Dang.
And yeah, so very recent, and honestly feel very at ease because I would have to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning just to drive, an hour and a half, and just to sit for like 8 hours. I mean, there might have been something to do, but it took away time from like what was really important to me. It was my business and, drone information technology that I could always be learning every day. And now I have just more of like a, horse vision, really, essentially, just put the blinders on, for the distractions and just narrow in my time more on my business.
Yeah.
So I had a really good month in April where I made, it was that 10,000 I was telling you about for that job, and more. So I saw that just the opportunity. I kind of looked at it as like a sign-on bonus, for my own business. And if that isn't anything that says like you could do something big, I don't know what else is, for me to get something like that. It felt like it fell into my lap, but I had everything in place already for me to get going on it. I had the knowledge with mapping. I had the website already up, so that way that guy could even find me and more. And I had my, my payouts. Like I'm up on PayPal, Miel, or I forget what the other one is.
Melio.
Melio, yes, that's what it is. Melio, Stripe. Yeah, up on all of those, because these bigger businesses, like, like when you talked about your modules, they don't like to see like the small time payment sale or whatever.
Yeah.
So, having all those systems set up for me really helped it go smooth. Like when I got my first paycheck from them, I'm like, okay, this is real, this is happening, and and this is something I have to keep building upon. Like I can't let it, slow up, because otherwise, why did I quit the job? So it was kind of a little bit of a wake-up call again, like as if I wasn't already thinking that it was going to be or wasn't going to be a wake-up call. But when you actually go through the motion, you come into your own, and you realize like, okay, now I gotta like really put the gas on, start going full throttle, and just don't get distracted, don't let up. Also give yourself time to just breathe in and out, assess the day or the days past, and kind of think about how you can go forward with anything, if you made any mistakes or like any system that can be made better. Like I still have more services that I want to put on my website. The website is always going to be growing and changing.
Yeah.
Branding is going to look a little different within the next couple of weeks. So now
I think it's just like what you're speaking to is more so having the prep done for the opportunity, right? Because a lot of times, like even with my business, like I'll feel like I get lucky. Well, if you get like lucky enough times, it's just not luck anymore. It's more like systematized. And I think a lot of people are like waiting to get lucky, but it's like, well, you do have to have the prep, like you're skilled in that area. Like you've done a lot of work already in that area. Now you're able to highlight that and attract the right clients for someone to be able to actually call you. And even when you say no, to call back and them to be like, okay, yeah, we could potentially work something out. Well, it's not because you're a nobody and it doesn't look professional. because I'm sure that would go a different way if it was. And so having the groundwork laid where you have the foundation, you have the prep, so that when the opportunity does come, it does feel kind of like a lucky break. But it's like, well, I've been prepping for this for a while. I've been building, credibility and trust and experience. And yeah, now this is another, notch on your belt to be able to highlight. But we've gotten ready for that opportunity. I think most people are kind of waiting for the opportunity to come before they jump and like actually do the work. But like you've just been executing and taking action over the last year. And so yeah, as we're getting better and as we're putting more and more into it, it's only a matter of time before like that opportunity comes. So it's good, man. I love it, because it can be easy to feel like, oh yeah, it's like a lucky break, but it's like, well, it wouldn't have happened if all these things didn't, weren't already in place. So I love that. So yeah, you jumped ship. Now you're full-time drone entrepreneur, business owner. How does that feel?
It honestly feels really liberating, and it still feels very surreal to me. Almost like I'm just for lack of better comparison, it feels like I did break out of prison. Honestly. And I don't want to phrase like a certain agency as that, but it's more of like the trapped bird like mindset mentality where
Yeah.
you feel comfortable with like something that's already providing for you, but it's not gaining more for you. Like I didn't have any vertical climb in the position I was, so I was already doomed from the start.
Yeah.
So what I had to do for myself was build myself a good financial platform foundation, just so that way I can get my bills paid and like also start funneling money into the business. Like over time, I was funneling money into a website. I was funneling into having subscription services for like the editing and for having Stripe ready, QuickBooks as well, so I can keep track of all my receipts, like little things like that that you get into the habit of doing for yourself. They won't feel like a chore for yourself later on, because especially if you're a small-time entrepreneur, you're going to end up taking up a lot of different responsibilities that like in a normal corporation or business would have. They'd have people delegated to that, but you need to scale it for yourself where it works and you can keep track of everything, because organization is going to be your best friend, time is going to be your worst enemy. And have to work with all of those parameters, especially with what different people want. It really takes like a very skilled person to assess all of the risk and your own skill set and kind of weigh out, okay, can I make it out here, or can I not do this there? And it's just the hypercritical assessment that you're supposed to give yourself, that you have to give yourself going forward. Otherwise, you get a little confused, a little sidetracked later on. And it's good to be super knowledgeable in the beginning, and then maybe trim the fat later on based off of what you're good at. But once you find your groove and you find something that's like, okay, like I could do this, and I know that like the return on my investment is for my time and everything is there, go for it. Like when I got the Matrice, I found out, I think was it 2 weeks later or something like that, that they weren't even going to sell enterprise drones in the US after that. So I literally bought like the last like batch of untariffed drone equipment yeah, for the time. And I'm like, dude, if I wanted to get into it later, it'd be more expensive for me, And I just had everything lined up and just ready to go, pulled the trigger, made the jump, and really like everything just aligned perfectly.
Yeah. And I think it just speaks to, having a business, running a business, starting a business, there's all a risk associated. There's a risk if you do it today. There's a risk if you don't do it today. Yeah. Like what would you say to people who are, I don't know, just worried about getting almost started, or wanting, maybe they made a couple $100, $1,000 flying drones, but they want to make it more consistent. They want to take it to the next level, but Like, what risks do you think they should take earlier versus waiting and waiting and waiting and missing opportunities?
Well, I would say you just got to do it, right? And that's easier said than done. But what do you do when you're at the beginning? Make yourself a portfolio or a website. That really should be like one of the first few things, because like you want to show off what you want, what you want to do, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So you need examples of just things that you do. If you're doing it, if you know that you're doing it and you can show it, have something ready for yourself. Like, this is like a free one that I've used for the longest, just for my video production side of my business. I would always have that up, and I'd send links, and I'm not proud of it, but it's gotten me the work that I've gotten thus far, which I have no complaints about.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, just really, like, I wouldn't say throw money into advertise, but advertise yourself in a way that is like fits for your budget. If it's free, just post on your socials, if you have a LinkedIn account, just post on there and be as loud as you can be with it, because you'll never know what you're really good at and what you should be doing until you've like maybe failed or tried at something for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first started doing video production, and simultaneously I was also doing drones. I didn't know how big drones were even going to get until like I had an internship, and they were like, we really like the drone shots, and I said, okay, well, how about I just do more drones, and like little did I know I'd be like having a profession in it,
Yeah.
So it's really just, you just got to do it, because you never know until like just maybe you see somebody else do it and you didn't do it, and I could have,
yeah, that's tough. Cool. How has the drone crew impacted your business, helped you, give you the support? Has it built your confidence? Like, where do you feel like it's helped the most in your obviously entrepreneurial journey up until this point?
I think the drone crew is amazing. Seeing all walks of life and all experience levels is really like, it's just critical for a community, because the new guys can see the vets and see like, okay, well, this guy, I guess he's got some money going to him. He's always got some work, and he's very knowledgeable. If I ask him a question, he's gonna have like 3 different answers, or a very specific answer to like a specific question that I have. And that's just always gonna help accelerate yourself as like a drone operator, really, for what we all are doing right here. When you just have this pool of easily accessible information, anyone can answer the questions. It just makes everything a lot easier. You're not like scrolling through Reddit or like whatever, I mean, maybe you are, but like you have a higher percentage of finding out what you want to know from the drone crew, because there's a bunch of people that have gone and done it. Maybe another one has the same question but found out something else that can help that person when they ask a question, and then the experts can hop on and be like, well, this is the answer. So I found I've gotten some answers from a couple crewmates that are doing what I want to do, and I'll bounce off some questions. I'll ask them in the DMs or personal, like, hey, like, I see you're doing this type of work, like, how did you get into it? Who are the people that you're talking to? How do you sell that service to somebody? What is like the end result that you're giving them that ultimately they value, as opposed to just a nice picture that you can give them or a nice data set? Like, what is that doing for them? How can it work for them? And that really just increases yourself as a business owner, operator, such.
It's awesome. So now, being a full-time drone business owner, entrepreneur for what, 10 days now? Got obviously 10 days full of experience, but what do you feel like it takes for someone who wants to go full-time into their business? Like, what's required?
What is required is all of you. And like, I don't know how else to word that. It literally takes 100% you. And like, Like I woke up this morning, I did a wedding last night and I got back kind of late. But um, for me, like, the day won't stop for me. I woke up, my kid woke me up actually because she wakes me up. She just loves to get up. But she hates when I sleep in. So I'm not allowed to sleep in. And I'm sorry, there's not a light on me. I'm not allowed I'm not allowed to sleep in because she wants to play with me, and I want to make the time to play with her. But, you know, for me to make time to play with her, I have to do my work, do it well. And, don't dilly dally, don't get distracted with things that like won't benefit you, or, people that won't benefit you. Or activities, like too much going out in the town, or whatever. Like you have to burn that midnight oil, stay up at night, like do your admin for yourself, edit your content, really figure out your workflow. And the only way you can do that is really just like make time for yourself to do those things for yourself, because later on it'll get easier. When you scale up, you can give it to somebody who knows how to do it just as well. Or if you're going to do it yourself, it's just a lot easier and sorry, I'm trying to fix the light.
Yeah. I mean, it just really speaks to like commitment.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's just like you have to be committed, and every season is going to look different, because like obviously you just went full time, so it's like I'm grinding because I want to stay full time, and once we get in the stride, once we get in the flow and the motion, then you're not having to sacrifice as much. But obviously, like you said, it takes all of you. And being able to prioritize is 100% required. And you see so many people nowadays doing 100 different things, trying to do the drone stuff, trying to do this, trying to do that, and all of it doesn't work because you're just scatterbrained. And for you, just like being committed from day one, since we started working together, it's like, oh yeah, this is my thing. Like I am building this and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the end result. It's like, okay, well then at that point, it's only a matter of time. And obviously like working with a coach significantly compresses that time. But it's like you also need to have that raw commitment of I want to do this and I'm going to, sacrifice what I need to, because it's like having a full-time job, having a family, and having the business. Like there's not a lot of time in the day, when you finish things up, but being able to sacrifice for short term so that way you can build what you want to build for the long term. That's really what's gotten you to where you want to get to. So that's awesome, man. Proud of you. Super pumped for you, dude. I mean, we're just getting started, baby.
Yeah, just getting started. Eventually, like I have some goals later on. I want to like do some education with drone tech, because it's always going to be changing, and me getting into like the more enterprise industry level, I feel like that's something that like the younger generation doesn't know, or even might not even care right now. But I feel like a lot of our industry is also education for like the people we want to work with, not just like educating on a broad scale. It's like if you're gonna reach out to a business for your service, you got to let them know that they need it, why they need it. You have to explain that to them. Really just expanding what type of portfolio I can provide within my bounds, time-wise and everything.
100%. Well, definitely appreciate your participation just in the crew, in the community over the last, almost a year at this point. And obviously like growing through the ranks and getting to a point where, you're helping others, you're supporting others and giving feedback and helping the newer people kind of just grow. Appreciate you for that. And yeah, man, excited to see what the rest of the year looks like, but we're up and to the right, baby. Let's keep it up.
Oh yeah, definitely will. Thanks, Jacob, and appreciate you for everything you're able to provide for me.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Cool. Well, thanks, dude.